This is American Dumpster Fire.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the American Dumpster Fire. We are here to inform and entertain. Now, do you guys want to talk about anything in the news before we get started? Is there anything big?
It's very
I mean, other
depressing.
than witnesses have been denied and they plan to have everything wrapped up by Wednesday.
Yeah, the cover-up is almost complete. Congratulations, Mitch the Bitch McConnell.
Well, we all knew this was going to happen, but it's still sad to see it.
You made a mockery of our country.
Our
Congratulations,
country has
Republicans.
been a mockery since roughly 2016, 2017.
I mean, there is one upside.
Yeah.
I mean, because if they suddenly saw the light now, it would just give credence to some argument or stance they have.
Saw the
Instead,
light. When lights go on near Republicans, they scurry.
My
Like
point is,
cockroaches.
That's
this
right.
just is the nail in the coffin that there is no reasonable argument, no meeting in the middle, no actual attempt at justice. This is just complete
It's a cover-up.
partisanship. The laws don't matter.
Yeah, you have a couple independents in this country. You have the Democratic Party, who is a mixed bag. I mean, there are some noble people, some problematic people, whatever. And that's how you expect a party to be.
Right.
And then you have a crime family pretending to be a party.
Like, truthfully, the decision to deny witnesses is literally a decision
And
to
evidence.
stick your head in the sand and say, la, 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 this isn't happening.
right.
Yeah, that's basically
There's
what they've
it's
been
a
doing
literally-
for weeks.
There's literally no other fucking reason. Because if you were truly looking for justice, if you were looking to be fair in any way, what's the harm in hearing it out?
Yes. And we absolutely need to make sure that none of these politicians involved in this cover-up ever work again.
Like, that's the thing, is it's like so blatantly an act against justice.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think the first obvious, and well, maybe not first, but one of the more obvious things that happened was when they denied caffeine. These
Yeah.
people are like 70. That's like the median age or whatever. It's freaking 70-year-olds,
but-
and they're up
Like,
all
what
night
was that ridiculous?
from the morning to
It
2 in
was
the morning,
Mitch
like 11 a.m.
thumbing, our faces because it was just, look, I'm going to make a mockery of this, and there's nothing you can do
You
about
could
it.
have
And that's
milk
what he
or
was doing.
water, but God forbid if you stay awake and actually hear anything.
Like, what the fuck?
And he's
Mitch?
probably mad
What
because the only
the
thing he
fuck?
can have is prune juice. So
Was he allowed to have that?
I don't
Was he
know.
allowed to have one single
I'm not
romaine to
convinced.
eat slowly?
I'm not convinced that he did. He clearly
Right.
feeds on souls.
Well, I saw the Saturday Night Live skit where he was conversing with Satan. So
Oh God, that was so good. SNL, oh, it's so hit or miss, but that was a great one.
that was a news item, right? That wasn't a skit. Right, he was actually in hell.
I don't know. It was one of those that just kept going, but it actually made funny. It was weird.
You should have saw the
Satan,
disturbing
if you're
face
listening,
that he
just
made.
keep him there next time.
You don't want him there. Who wants him around? Ew.
That's true.
Ugh.
That's like the only reason he's not dead yet.
Then you'd be the one who had to change his diapers. No
You know,
thanks.
I miss the days where comedians had to work to be funny.
Right?
I mean,
Oh God.
But in a reasonable society, people would look at this, the fact that they're lampooning the ridiculousness of the overt corruption that's going on, and they'd be like, oh, we should do something about this. But no, there's an entire segment of our population that's behind it.
Literally, they want the cover up. They want to be lied
Right.
to. They're telling us that this president could do literally anything and we can't prosecute a president. Are you fucking kidding?
Right.
Why are we holding the president to a lower standard than the guy who packs your McDonald's fries?
Yeah.
Because literally that guy has to not be a criminal.
Yeah.
because he doesn't have any power.
What they are showing us is that laws are for common folk,
Yeah.
not for them.
Well, that's always been true, but at least we pretended to. We tried to keep up the charade a little.
Right. There was an image to maintain, and now we're like, no, he
Yeah.
can literally do anything. We could find dead hookers in the White House. They probably have
Yeah.
found dead hookers in the White House, and we're just like, yep, this is okay. This is America.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you measure your trunk space, right? How many hookers?
That's why I only buy Buick.
They're clearly Ford people.
By the way, Buick, you can send me my endorsement cash. Okay, in other news, I avoided the coronavirus by switching to Modelo.
Okay.
They're hoping that Mexican parasites would fight it off, or
Actually, alcohol kills it. Alcohol and heat.
yeah, because I was gonna say beer actually is its own preservative. It actually makes the water cleaner.
I'm actually not worried about the coronavirus
I like
personally
Modelo.
because I avoid people.
I haven't heard anything in a couple of days. Last I heard, the death toll was 50s.
Well, it reached America. It is officially a global
did hear
emergency. It has done its first instance of person-to-person transfer, I guess. There is some food market that's responsible, supposedly, for this whole thing starting. And then
Yes, I heard that.
some woman's being fined $12,000 for violating the travel bans on it or something.
Well, I heard some weird rumor that there's they take a recently dead bat and they made it sound like they didn't cook it.
Oh, bat wing soup.
Like it was just bat, like straight up bat, like not even skinned. Just
Okay,
bat.
I'm just going to say that
And-
doesn't sound like a good idea.
Now, I'm not
Hairy.
sure
That
if this is
sounds
true.
gross.
This is all hearsay.
Like, I'm not worried about how it tastes. I'm saying that doesn't
This is
sound
like
like a good
fifth-hand knowledge.
idea.
But yeah, they would plunge it in the middle of some soup, and it was just kind of there for flavoring or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
Aw, bats are so cute. Don't eat them.
Really? It's there for the flavoring.
Yeah, and apparently, yeah, this and other coronaviruses in that family tree of viruses are linked to bats, but I don't know for sure.
Because they're really vampires.
Well, there was some rumors that were linking it to snakes, but apparently that's not true. I don't know.
So what this has uncovered is the people in that region eat some weird things.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I can
I
eat
mean,
even a
weird
tenth of
is
what
defined by region.
is on that
so
menu.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. I don't know. Like, there's quite a few things I would eat, but I just don't know that bat is on
Bats
the
are
list.
too cute to eat.
So,
I mean, Doberman, if it was properly prepared, maybe.
but I'm sure somebody
What?
out there's like, tastes like chicken, you know?
Right, I'm sure.
So,
I mean, I wouldn't think to eat gator, but people love it, so.
yeah, I don't know. I've heard the same thing at Gator, though. I heard it tastes like chicken.
I don't have any desire, but I hear it's
Big.
really good.
Mean, bitey chicken.
I imagine it'd be
Right.
greasy and kind of tough. But
So,
I don't know.
whatever.
okay, so we've spoken of two plagues already, the Republican Party and the coronavirus. And then Brexit finalized today.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
about
And then
that.
I saw that the what was it, they took down their flag in the EU hall or whatever, the European Union's
Really?
hall. And it was kind of sad watching the video of them taking it off and
Like a
pulling up.
retired jersey.
And yeah, it was like, you know, and you know, in like 10 years they're gonna regret this whole thing because they look like idiots.
Right.
You
I
know?
mean, can't they just rejoin whenever they feel like it?
I
Well,
wouldn't
who
let
looks
them.
like idiots?
I'm sure there's a fine and
No, see, I don't take
Well,
up.
it's not.
I don't
their
take back people who break up with me. So I definitely wouldn't take back a
don't they?
country who
Well,
broke
don't
up
they
with
have
me.
their own Trump in office right
That's
now?
my
Who
point.
did this?
They'll get a new
not
prime
their
minister,
fault.
and it'll be a whole nother country, and they'll be like, I'm sorry, take me back.
Basically,
I've changed.
just like whoever takes over after Trump is going to be like, "We're so sorry.
God, I
That's
hope
not
so,
us.
yeah.
We're so sorry."
I hope when
Like
whoever gets
Germany,
there, like,
just
"Oh, yeah, man."
start with Germany. Jesus Christ, we're so sorry.
I'm pretty sure the day
Reach
before
out-
election day, there's a lot of drinking happening.
France,
This happens.
Canada, yeah, just all across the board. We just owe apologies across the board.
Right, yeah. So here we go, guys, and one like long teleprompter.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, but then
Speech
we'll
like-
be accused of going on an apology tour, so I can't have that.
We owe the world an apology tour. I think that really whatever president takes over needs to start with America. So sorry about that.
Yeah. The refusal to admit fault and the refusal to apologize for something when you're in the wrong is a sign of deep immaturity.
I was going to say
well,
being a
they
child.
took it as a sign of weakness that we would
Right,
ever
and-
apologize for a wrongdoing.
And deeply stupid and immature people do that.
Yeah.
So I'm not concerned with how
I feel that
offended
I'm
they
owed
are.
an apology. I'm just saying.
Right, yeah. So, but they're like, "Oh, fuck your feelings," until you put Christmas.
Great. Fuck you too.
Then you put until you put general holiday stuff instead of Christmas on a cup, and then
then they turn
or
into
there's
this.
two dads in a commercial. Then they have a fucking breakdown.
Oh my God! It doesn't even have to be two dads. You just put two males
Yeah,
in
it
a commercial
doesn't have to say
with a child. They don't even have to touch each other or relate to each other in any way. But suddenly, this whole commercial is gay and offensive and not appropriate
Yeah.
for children.
I actually saw a recent one like
because
that. And
gay bashers are the ones who tie sex to everything, and maybe you're the freak.
Right? No, they are the freak. They are a pervert for instantly assuming everything is sexual.
Although
Yes.
I saw a newer commercial, I cannot remember for the life of me what it was, but it was probably from one of these new Super Bowl ads that they always release a month in advance. But there was two guys and a kid, and they're like all pretty far apart from each other, but they're the only three on set. And I don't remember if they're in the kitchen or what was happening or what they were even selling. But I remember thinking, that's weird that you can't identify relation of anybody in this entire scene and how purposeful that was set up.
Well, I mean, first off, this could be son, uncle, father. This could be
Best
son,
friend?
father, stepfather. This could be
Like a
Could
son,
neighbor?
be
friend,
just two
friend.
guys,
Yeah.
two friends hanging out.
It could be a family reunion or a family
or it could
gathering.
be two gay men and truly mind your business.
But that's the thing. It doesn't matter. Grow the fuck up.
Seriously.
Oh wait, I don't think we're allowed to
So-
say
Oh my
super.
God,
So they wanna be
there's two
something
gay
gay?
men standing in a
that's
kitchen.
the-
This is inappropriate for children. Is it?
Should the commercial have had a trigger warning? Are
Like-
you going to cry?
Like, is it? Like, you're the one who's turning this into something sexual, you big fucking weirdo.
Seriously. Oh, my God.
Like, I just don't,
But they
like,
love-
they tie everything to sex, and I just don't understand that. There are gay virgins. Like, just so everybody's aware of that circumstance.
Right.
Like, that exists.
But they love to call liberals snowflakes, but nobody cries better than they do.
Yeah, it's weird. It's definitely weird.
And Republican tears are salty as fuck. So, all right. Are we done talking about the plagues of this world? Can we move on to how to end one of them? Can we
Okay.
talk about our voting system and how fucked it is?
I mean, it's a plague of sorts.
Well, this is a cure we're going to be talking about. We will discuss the flawed electoral college system,
Mm-hmm.
but we're also going to talk about ranked choice voting.
Yes.
I am amazed that people are confused by ranked choice voting.
Well, I mean, it's
Like,
not.
I feel like
it's
it's a
not
pretty
something a lot of
clear
us are familiar with.
concept.
Only
Well,
one state has
It's
it.
weird and it's new and it's
There's
different.
a couple.
Oh my God, not different.
Okay.
I know.
I was just looking at a map. There are several states. I
A
wish
map?
yeah, I wish I still had it up. But there was well over a dozen states that had it for local elections.
Yes.
I don't know why, but only for local. But for the
Well,
presidency,
you work within the
only
power
Maine.
you have.
Now there was like two cities, like I think it was San Diego and Minneapolis or something like that.
They
I thought
probably
you said
don't
San
have the
Francisco, but-
capability and authority
you might be
to
right.
run ranked choice voting for a national election. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well,
like they probably only have the power to do it
Right.
within local.
yeah, we
But-
need to get politicians higher up the chain on board with this, not just these
But my point is-
localities. And the localities keep doing this, guys. I mean, the more of you guys change over, and I heard there are more coming, change over ranked choice voting. It is the right choice for this country, for the world.
Oh, I completely agree.
We need to put the power back in the hands of the people, and it's never going to happen under the Electoral College.
No, I don't think it's at all possible.
Especially, I knew the Electoral College was flawed before, and then we started reading about it, and I was like, holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Is this flawed? And people are like, oh, are you questioning the Founding Fathers? Yes. 200 years ago, they didn't necessarily know what the hell they were doing. Sorry.
No, I agree with you. And not only that, but the Electoral College has kind of evolved in ways that I don't think our founding fathers
No.
foresaw coming.
Oh, one guy accused me of
Also-
hating the Constitution.
The Electoral College is nowhere in the Constitution.
So,
So there's that.
yeah, it was formed after the Constitution was written, guys.
Yeah,
Yes.
1787.
Yeah. So, learn something.
I mean,
And guess what? It's not a place. It's not one of them learning schools. Okay.
Mhm.
The Electoral College it's a thing. Okay, it's a process, I guess.
It's a failure.
It is. It's failed. Well, it depends on who you are. If you're the people in power trying to stay in power, trying to hoard and
Well,
keep
that's
the
true.
power, the Electoral College is the way to go. So, however, if you're one of the people, as the millions and millions of us are, I don't even know what number we're up to at this point
I don't either.
of population. But anyways, the vast majority of people, your vote means little, if anything. So, under the Electoral College system, when you place a vote, you are placing a vote for a pre-selected elector. Yes, you said I vote for candidate X or I voted for candidate Y, but the party of candidate X or candidate Y selected electors, and when the tally in your area reaches such a number, those electors vote. Now, here's the problem: those electors aren't bound by law, or some states have some laws, but they're almost never enforced on making these electors.
So
vote your way.
basically, you expect your elector to vote in a way that represents you, and the bottom line is they don't have to.
Nope.
And
They
ha-
can do whatever the fuck they want.
And less than a
they
dozen
will.
times, 2000 and 2016 in recent history. Yeah, they've been shown to do exactly that.
And it'll happen more and more,
we,
unless we get rid of
which
it.
is just insane because they're appointed by party. They're beholden to no one. They are not prosecuted for not
For not representing
Well,
people.
and at a time, by the way, this wouldn't have affected third, fourth party candidates, but now it does. Now this process almost makes it impossible for third and fourth party candidates
Correct.
to win.
That's true. And the originally the Electoral College was supposed to kind of make up for the fact that I think the founding fathers basically thought that your average person wasn't smart enough to make an informed
Correct,
decision.
yeah, because it's specifically worded as qualified voters.
Well-
So basically, this was supposed to make up for that. But what's actually happened as the two-party system has grown is that it's just become another aspect of division of the two-party thing.
And corruption.
So really, third and smaller parties just have no chance at all with
No.
these electors in place.
So no change can ever be made. No, it's just going to be a status quo, and the giants are going to consume the whole field.
And the Giants have obviously gone corrupt. Even the Democrats can't be completely trusted.
But the reason some of this came to being is many of the Southern politicians supported the Electoral College out of fear that a direct popular vote would diminish their
Would
power,
the Southern vote,
being
right?
that
Because,
the majority of the population.
less population, especially considering slaves weren't counted.
Right, correct. So they were a non-voting population.
Until there were
whereas in the
3/5.
city, more people voted. So, that's not a good reason to have an electoral
Well,
college.
there was another reason, and like Tier was talking about, of the lack of education, because there was no unified educational system. It was a lot of locally funded, the way sheriffs were funded. So people would basically self-tax to have a small schoolhouse that would educate, fifth grade or something?
Right.
I mean, we're not talking scholars here.
Right,
And
but
that-
things have changed.
And that was only the portion of the population that chose to educate their kids and spend their money on that. So you could make an argument about mob rule back then. But nowadays, especially when you have the ability to freaking vote over a phone.
You can almost see what they're trying to say is that the South was having trouble having their interests represented because the population was in the North.
Right.
But the problem is that they're trying to hold that to the same standard nowadays.
Right.
And it's just, they're like, oh, well, look at this whole map is red. That whole map is fields.
Right.
Well, that's
There's
the thing.
no people there.
Like, it's not just
Your
the South.
one vote, one person, one vote is still a fair
right. and-
decision. The problem is that your cows and your grass don't get a vote.
Well, and it's not just that. A lot of these states, even with big cities in them and stuff like that, have a winner-take-all
Oh, yeah.
system.
yes, I think most
So
of
this
them
county
do.
will win.
I think all but
this,
two.
This county will win that, but in the end, they just give all the votes to whoever had the most.
So, yeah, if it's got,
Whereas if it were counted, if they broke it down, that same candidate may not win in many cases.
Well, that's the problem is that several times candidates have won who haven't won the popular vote, and this has happened more and more.
For instance,
Well,
in
it's-
1824, John Quincy Adams beat Andrew Jackson when Andrew Jackson won the popular vote. Rutherford B. Hayes beat Samuel Tilden in 1876. Benjamin Harrison beat Grover Cleveland in 1888. George W. Bush beat Al Gore in 2000, and Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton in 2016, all because of Electoral College handing it to them in each
Right.
of those cases.
Despite the
Wh-
popular vote.
When the popular vote was won by the other candidate.
But I was saying it's more insidious than all that because on the county level, because when a whole state swings, which is most of our states, and all the electoral votes get dumped over to one candidate or the other.
Right.
Well, those counties are won from gerrymandering. So
Right.
on the smallest scale, there's corruption that funnels all the way up.
Right, and we'll never get away from corruption if we allow a corrupt system to keep governing us.
Right, but I mean, if you go to ranked choice, it kind of disempowers the whole gerrymandering situation.
Well, the gerrymandering will still count in more local elections or senatorial or congressional elections, unfortunately, because it's districting. So yes, unfortunately, you're going to have a guy that has a district that looks like a barbell. Where they're.
Oh God, yeah.
Yes, that's true, but ranked choice will help to.
Well,
to
it'll stop that with presidents, and hopefully on local elections we can start switching to ranked choice.
It'll help in local elections. It won't cure the problem completely.
Yeah, but it's one step that does 3 steps in the other direction.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so it does so much more than smaller measures individually could add up to do.
Right. But yeah, so that's the thing. We have to break free of this electoral college system.
Here's my other issue with it is not only do these people have authority to make decisions that don't represent their voters, but we don't even know who they are. Like, I couldn't tell you who the hell's representing this in Ohio for me. Like, that's a problem.
Right.
This should be a crystal clear thing. I should know which politician is misrepresenting me.
Right.
Oh, you're talking about the college, yeah.
I'm
It gets
talking about the
better.
college themselves. Why don't we know this? Because it's sometimes they're actual elected officials. Well, if we know that they're not actually representing us,
Right.
we should be able to get them out.
Sure. Yeah. You have no way what corrupt son of a bitch is doing what.
Yeah,
So-
like why is this the one place where we don't know who it is? That's shady to start with.
And get this, more than 700 proposals to abolish or amend the electoral college system have been introduced in Congress during the nation's history. That's more than any other subject.
Even Obamacare?
More than anything.
'Cause,
I mean, that's got to tell
was
you
Obamacare in 93?
that we're not the only ones seeing the problem with this. There is a systemic problem with the electoral college system. This and what it says is that your government doesn't want the power to be in the hands of the people. They want to keep the power in their own hands.
I actually would put it on the parties and not even the government. I think it's the parties keeping control.
What's the difference at this point? Because you can't break the parties or the...
No, I get that. But I think it's a corporate entity with a lot of power.
You're right. The parties have caused a lot of problems here, and like that's another thing that ranked choice voting will help to correct because
Right.
currently there's zero chance basically that a smaller party can come in and actually affect anything.
We
But-
have
Right.
5 parties in our country right now, and we'd have a lot more if we had ranked choice.
And
'Cause
for
we
the
have-
most
we
part,
have
only
conservative.
2 of those parties matter.
We have conservative and we have insane.
And they're toxic
we
parties.
have liberal and off the fucking reservation, and libertarian, which is its own.
Yeah, and
breed
then
of
there's the
weird.
Greens, and I mean, there's a couple other things. But really, I mean...
But we would actually see these parties have a chance.
The only way you can actually win is by joining one of the big parties or saying that you're part of that big party so you can get the
Right.
electorates.
But don't you think it'd be interesting to see what the Democrats become when they split into 2 because we can't stand each other, and the same with the Republicans?
I would like that opportunity, yes. I mean, think about the choice that could be given to you. That I'm like, oh, well, I'm actually a conservative, but I can't stand Trump. Well, great, there's an option for you now.
Right.
You
Right,
know?
exactly.
Or I didn't like Hillary, but I liked Bernie. Great, there's an option for you now. And the great thing is, with ranked choice voting, you're not wasting your vote.
right,
You
and
can
that's
say,
exactly
this is the
the
best
point.
candidate, second best candidate, third best candidate.
Yes.
Right. So if your top choice basically gets knocked out of the running, your vote goes to your second pick.
So essentially, if you can take a Facebook poll, you can do ranked choice voting.
I think it's the clear answer, and I can't conceive of any argument that anybody has against it other than, oh, we like the corrupt system,
Well,
and this
That
is
is
how we
basically
stay in
the
power.
argument is that
in
if
Maine,
you, if
actually,
you,
the
if
Republican Party is
they're
against
arguing
it.
that very thing is Republicans are arguing that
It's too
if we
confusing.
switch to ranked choice voting, they will fall out of power.
Because nobody likes them.
Right? Yeah, because they hold less than 1/3 of the vote, yet they hold all of the power.
Because they
That is-
cheat.
that is corruption. Yeah.
Well,
that-
that's the thing is once a Republican gets in office, they gerrymander to hell so that nobody else has
Okay,
a chance to ever
well,
get in there
let's be
to
fair.
gerrymander.
They all gerrymander, all of them.
Whoa.
Democrats, Republicans, anybody who has power, unfortunately, the power to do it, unfortunately, gerrymanders. And unfortunately, because the system is set up to allow it, they have to do it.
Who did it first?
And
Who does it
it
better?
doesn't matter.
Who does it more often?
It doesn't matter. And
They made the
it
game.
may very well have been Democrats.
The fact that they're
in
in
the
power
beginning.
proves that
But-
they do it more and
but
they do it better.
The problem is if you don't gerrymander and they
Oh,
do
you'll lose,
gerrymander, you lose. And that's just
Not
how
only
it's built.
that, but
It's a street fight.
your whole party will be eliminated from office. The bottom line is that there needs to be harsh punishments for gerrymandering. There needs to be serious repercussions for gerrymandering, for blocking voters, for inhibiting.
Well, that's
votes.
true. I agree. They just did what Wisconsin just blocked Native American voters, and it's just like, and a judge upheld it, and I'm like, how is this happening? Like in broad daylight, like it's literally like vampires walking among us. in
Not
the
to
daylight.
mention the optics on that.
I know. I'm like, how is this? How is everybody not heads on pikes at this moment?
It's not a good look.
Like, I just don't get it. How are you getting away with this shit?
Our country is just a laughing stock. Like, there was one time when everybody would say, "Oh, this is the greatest country in the world." The fuck it is. We're
That's the
we've
process, though, right?
fallen
The
so
process.
far.
The process. This vitriol that we have, and it built into this process or whatever, is about making a better country. Now, some of us have that in mind. I don't think all of us have that in mind. Some of us think we're doing the right thing when we aren't. So
I think the current administration
Is-
is actively trying to run the country into the ground,
Well,
I think they're just lining their own pockets.
yeah, they're
still.
just
It's all
filling their
done.
pockets, and they don't care that they're destroying
which
everything.
is running the country into the ground.
So this is a problem with allowing billionaires to run amok. But this isn't that episode.
Yeah,
So-
it's like being on a spaceship where someone's just stealing all the copper plumbing while you're in space.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Exactly.
It's like, what are you doing?
So, but yeah, so unfortunately, the way the districting works is gerrymandering is almost a necessity to a point. And in some cases, a fair district looks much like a gerrymandered district. And we've even tried to computer district and many other things, and it just never works right. It never, your groups aren't necessarily well represented. That you may have this type of voter over here and that type of voter over there, and it
Shouldn't we just try and make squares as much as geography allows?
No, but that's what I'm saying. They've shown it doesn't actually work. So that geographically, if we split everything up into squares, you might be representing a diverse population and failing part of that population in trying to represent another part of the population that you
right. But as
represent.
long as we're going to keep the electoral college, isn't that closer to fair? Because it's going to add up to a whole state of
It's
something.
hard to say. It because
Why can't we just vote by jurisdiction? A city falls within a county falls within a state. Like, vote by your county.
Well, then, big county should have more electoral votes than a small podunk county.
I mean, that's true.
No, I'm saying get rid of the electoral
No,
votes.
yeah. It
Well,
should
that's
all
the
be ranked
ultimate
choice.
goal. But I mean, if we're going to keep the system, it needs
Well, that's the thing.
improving.
We could
The system
I
needs
think we could definitely
ripped
tone
apart.
down the gerrymandering if we
But
switch
I'm
to
saying
electoral or
local
switch to
ranked choice,
ranked
yes.
choice.
Ranked choice voting, and then voting by your jurisdiction. Like, and I get that there's still going to be like, areas that go all to one party or the other because, there's poor areas, there's rich areas, there's areas where minorities live together.
Right,
and there's
right.
areas that are predominantly white. But it's still more fair to have those areas represented by, who they're voting for.
I agree. So ranked choice voting is super simple, and I personally don't think we even need the primaries, other than the ballot might be rather large if we put all of the primary candidates on there even, or
They still need to campaign, and they still need
No,
to...
no, I'm okay with it. Let's number it 1 to 5, and then I could take
Top-
that
yeah.
16 and win it down a little.
But yeah,
Well, the thing is that, they still need to have their voices heard, and the primaries kind of do that. So I think that,
I think we should have primaries. I'm just saying
Yeah.
is that we use ranked
Well-
choice in the primaries as well.
But the bottom line is that they're each going to have their own party now. They're not all running for the Democratic
Oh, well, that's
ticket.
fine.
that's true. I mean, the Democratic Party wouldn't, whatever we had 18 or 24 candidates or whatever. Realistically, that would have been 3 different
Well,
parties.
that's interesting.
Right.
Because if the Democratic Party could be represented by 3 different parties with different names,
Same thing with the Republican Party.
would I
think
still
every
be a
2 or 3.
Democrat or would it be an independent? How would I get the
I
freedom
think
to
you
choose?
would determine that by the platforms that they're presenting.
I
to you.
don't. I don't know.
You
how
know
to,
what? And
what I would
that's
even
the
call
thing is
myself at
that
that
kind
point.
of needs to go too.
But that's a great thing.
Being forced to represent a party in
Yeah.
your elections, and that's the bottom line. Is if I don't identify as a Democrat, I can't vote for the Democratic
Well,
options
But
in
that
the
also
primary.
that stops you from sandbagging
Well, see,
the
that's-
Republicans
and
and
that's
doing the same
bullshit.
thing, though. So
but
What do you mean?
purposely using your vote to tank and screw up their election in their primaries.
But it's I think it's realistically one step at a time here, okay? Because I do see as eventually we could drift away from the party system with ranked choice voting.
which
would-
needs to happen.
You would no longer need to worry about party lines and everything, and that would force people to start voting on issues rather than personality and frickin' identity and stuff like that. You would actually have to look at, what does this guy actually represent? What does he mean? What is he saying? And how and what's his voting record look like? Does he actually back up what he's saying? And then you might
I think
actually,
that'll matter more, but personality is always going to matter some.
Yeah,
So-
but the bottom line is that those are the things we should be looking at in the first place.
It should be, but I mean, let's face it. Kerry lost because he couldn't make a bumper sticker out of anything he was saying. He just couldn't do it.
I mean, unfortunately, there's a big chunk of our country that needs bumper stickers in order to know what they want,
I mean-
what they think. But
Every single one of those debates was a PowerPoint presentation. It was.
he is a boring person, yes.
No, but he was smart, and if you
I
listen to
voted
him,
for that guy with everything I had.
Right.
I voted for him too, but
but you could
he
see
was
the votes
boring
going
as
away.
shit.
You could just see it evaporating. It's like, oh man, get to the point.
So, but yeah, I mean, if we could do ranked choice, I think that this country would look vastly different. In fact, I think elections
Yeah.
would be more exciting and a little bit scarier even.
I think it would be a
because-
big difference.
because suddenly nobody's afraid to vote for who they want to vote for.
That's
Sure.
true. And truly, you can't predict as easily who's going to
exactly.
take that vote.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it
Yeah,
would
it's like
be,
watching a battle royal. You know, it's
like it would be a big change, and it would
Oh,
make
they're
a
out.
huge difference. And I think that it would be in amazingly good ways.
It'd be kind of weird though, because no matter who won, you're probably responsible. So let's say like your guy won, but he was third on your list. Did you help carry him over?
okay. So
Maybe. If Trump was on your list and you put him as number 4, you're still culpable for that. I mean,
So
just
let's
wouldn't
explain it
list
real
them.
quick. It's real simple. Let's say we have 7 candidates, right? And you can number those candidates 1 through 7. Or if you don't like a candidate at all, if you absolutely hate them, Trump's up on your ballot, you can put nothing next to it.
1
You
to
cannot
6.
give him a vote at all. So
Right.
and you put them in order. So
-24.
right, yeah. If your number 1 slot is eliminated, they go to your number 2 slot. If your number 2 slot's eliminated, they go to your number 3, and so on and so forth. That's how ranked choice voting works. Is
I'm just saying more of us will be culpable or
bring the white
responsible
out.
for the end result.
right. But what I'm saying here is, in a situation like
Just more ownership is
like
interesting.
the Sanders and Clinton and Trump and all that stuff. First off, there were candidates, I'm sure, in the Republican Party that would have run against Trump in the election.
sure.
You know, it wouldn't have just been Trump versus Hillary, and it wouldn't have just been.
Oh God, we might
Trump
have had
versus-
personality.
Well, it's not just that.
Literally, do you know how many people would have voted for any candidate over Trump?
Right? And
Literally anybody.
Well, it's not just that.
And how many people would have voted for literally any other candidate besides Hillary?
Sanders.
He would never have made it.
Sanders wouldn't need to be a Democrat.
a joke
Right.
venom
Been-
poisoned fish.
A rotting fish it would have been a better choice than Trump.
I just no.
Literally anything.
Oh,
Anything would have been a better choice.
So yeah, I mean, our election system would be 1,000 times better with ranked choice voting.
It's one simple
And-
change, and it would make a huge difference.
Okay.
Step 2 is still
But
eliminating electoral
Addendum.
college.
Yeah, well, no. Eliminate electoral college, go straight for the ranked choice voting system. And then on top of that, completely transparent elections. I think we need a channel, and I'm sure the government has a secured channel that we can all watch or what
Are
have
you
you.
talking about TV? Yeah,
Yes.
TV channel. yeah.
Televise it, put it on
Where-
the
Well,
internet,
they took the
everywhere.
airwaves back.
Where the counts are done live on TV.
That was
And-
the whole digital antenna thing. They wanted their airwaves back.
Well, I think it's mostly for military, but
Who cares? Take over a regular channel.
yeah, I mean, and count live with checkers. So one person, one for Sanders, and the person looks at the ballot, Sanders, and it gets filed, and
Jesus Christ! I thought C-SPAN was boring.
Who cares?
you-
It'll
well-
run all night long
Well,
and
no,
probably for a
each-
couple of
that's the
days.
thing.
And the bottom line is, who cares? Someone's going to be watching at some
Each-
point, making sure it's valid.
each county or each electoral zone or what have you would have their own. They're all doing it simultaneously. This isn't like there's this daunting amount of millions and millions of ballots in one location.
Yeah, I'm like, is my screen split into like 8,000 little tiny squares?
No, you got your locale and you have national. That's
Okay.
what you would have. I mean, it'd be
Right.
simple. It's not. Why do you care about Anaheim, California's election when you're not there?
Right.
You've got yours.
Well, you
And-
would need local, county, state, and national.
Yeah, but you can have, just like it is now, you have that cycling on the sidebar, you know.
I think we need a universal voting
so-and-so
methodology.
won this county, you know, when that
Like,
one's done.
Are we
Mhm, right.
paper? Are we going to be machine?
It should be
or
paper.
what kind of machine
no,
are we
it
going
needs
to
to be unhackable. It needs to be unscrewable. You know,
I think it should be an
in
app,
fact,
and
I
we
don't.
should just have better
I don't even think
tech.
they should leave the location. There's too many instances of ballots ending up in swamps.
Yeah.
Nope, it stays right here. Ballots are closed. We immediately start counting, and you do it twice. Everything is double counted. We make sure it's done right. Every vote counts. This should be sacred. The voting process should be absolutely sacred.
Well, I think what the problem is that they probably have some sort of voting facility that's set up for counting, and where you actually go to vote is usually like the rec center, a library.
That's fine.
you
It
know.
stays there.
So run them at City Hall.
Yeah, well, look, you
I
can-
don't know. Maybe there's equipment for counting. I
You
have
can
no
have
idea how
elections
this
at
works.
smarter locations they are now, but what is the problem with just taking a camera there and videoing it right where it is? You don't have to go anywhere. Stay right here. There's no reason for my ballots to end up in the swamp. Period.
Why is no one prosecuted about that? Why was there not a second
Because
news item
we
on
don't-
Because our country is completely okay.
Who drove that truck? What was the license plate of that truck?
I'm sure
Probably
somebody
Jeb Bush.
did that on purpose.
Oh no, no,
a
it was
politician had
because
something
that was
to do with
actually
that.
the military overseas absentee
Yeah,
voting, and it swung heavily Democrat.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at the number of people in the military
I
who are
was-
Democrats.
I can't even tell you how completely and utterly horrified I was when I saw all the instances of voter fraud and not voter fraud. What am I looking for?
Suppression?
Suppression that happened in that last election.
Right.
I was completely appalled. Like, it's so blatant and it is so obvious who the targets are.
Yeah.
Like the poorer or minority areas, and there was literally
Well-
like people were standing in line for hours, like 8 hours,
Oh, I couldn't believe
because
that.
they had one booth. And, like, there were supposed like power outages and somebody forgot to plug in the machine. There was there was no outlet available. There was all kinds of shit that was just
Right.
so
Well,
fucking blatant.
I'm impatient at 25 minutes.
And you bring me to another thing. Every eligible voter, we know who they are. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me they don't know who they are. I was
Mhm.
a Social Security office. They knew more about me than I knew about me.
Right.
I checked information. I'm like, holy shit, they're right about all this stuff I had no idea that they were right about. Like, how do you
Right.
know this? If they know all this, we can be auto-registered to vote.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I honestly believe there's got to be a way we could secure an app.
The reason-
there has to be a way.
The reason why you're not is so corruption can continue.
Yeah, they don't want everybody to just register to vote.
Right. They know that the Republican Party automatically loses if it's a fair election, period.
Right.
It's time to switch over to auto-registration and
Rank choice.
ranked choice voting, get rid of the Electoral College, stop with the fucking cheating. I mean,
And
I'm
truly,
just
like,
disgusted.
how is everybody not disgusted by this?
So,
Yeah, if you're not mentally infirm or somehow legally lost your right to vote, I really don't understand how you're over 18 and it's a thing you have to go through.
Right.
That should just be automatic. I'm 18. So I
well,
get to vote.
and they
I'm
keep
a citizen.
citing instances of cheating, but the truth of the matter is that cheating
It's like
is
four people.
insanely rare, and the people complaining about it are often the people who are favored by it. That it is often Republicans cheating, not Democrats.
And it hasn't changed a
Illegal
single
aliens
vote.
don't risk getting deported so they can cast a ballot.
It's like one guy voting
Right.
twice. It's not like usually one guy voting 37 times.
Right? Yeah.
So
like not even enough to sway an election.
Right. So it's
You
not
know?
like, what is this going to add up to?
It's so minor, and it doesn't even compare to the amount of like voter suppression and the things that they're doing.
Yeah, that's the
to-
real cheating.
Right. Those things that are like completely anti-democracy.
Right.
Like
Well-
you really have to hate our country to do
You know
shit
what
like
is?
that.
Tuesday in the middle of the day. Can we move this crap to a Saturday or make it a freaking holiday?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Make it.
It does need
either,
to be a day off.
either national holiday Monday or Friday. You know, where you get it off. Period. You know, but I don't see why you couldn't take a whole week sometimes to do some of this.
Or
stuff.
maybe-
I think it should be on a Monday so
Maybe
they
it
can
should
keep
be
the
volunteers.
count up.
Maybe you should pay people and maybe take it into, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night so
Like,
people could get
I've
off of work.
legit had some little old lady scowl at me when I said I needed a Democrat ballot. Like, those people aren't. You know, I don't trust those people.
Oh, working there, really?
Yes, working there,
That's
handing me
horrible.
my ballot. And she, scowled at me, because I requested a Democratic
Wow.
ballot.
Usually people that volunteer do not swing that way. That's interesting.
But yes, the whole process needs to be sacred. It needs to be this, unfuckwithable thing. We need to get this culture of the, and it's the turnout's low, and I think some of that is that there's a certain amount of disenfranchisement going on there. There's a certain amount of culture that we haven't raised our children to realize that this should be a sacred process. The country itself doesn't treat it like a sacred process because your ballots can just disappear in a swamp and no big deal.
At
We
this
need
point,
to prosecute
the
people
country
for
treats
fucking with this stuff.
everything like a fucking mockery.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't possibly call yourself a patriot and be okay with votes not getting counted. And then in the last election, I heard them talking about how, it's going to take too long to recount this, recount that. No, motherfucker. This
I
process
hate that.
is sacred. You make sure every vote is counted.
Like the whole Gore election and everything. And he's like, I'm just gonna. I think it's time that we move on. I'm gonna go with the will of what was the Supreme Court that decided that it seemed like it was gonna go that way, so he just kind of conceded. We're going back in time a bit here, but yeah, I remember.
Well, the Electoral College handed it
he
to
could have had it
Bush
completely
anyways.
recounted, and he chose not to hold up everything. And it's like, maybe you should have.
Right.
Yeah, maybe we should stop fucking conceding and go with
Stop
all
being
these
nice.
people
Yeah, what is
are
it hurting you to
sacrificing.
shut your mouth and wait?
Every fucking one of these voters is sacrificing their day or their time to go out and wait in line and make their vote because they're determined to represent themselves in this country. You don't get to concede. When we fucking vote for you, you fucking wait until you lost.
Yes.
And then you let it go.
You're done when we say
I
you're
fully
done.
agree,
Exactly.
but I do understand that there is an economic impact.
If it's a huge gap, fine.
This
by
is
all
the
means.
look.
But that's because of
This-
speculative markets of, you're dealing with the stock market and it
I
doesn't
don't
know
care.
where to go.
I don't care. Those are rich people problems. I don't care.
Yeah, it honestly is.
The Dow Jones has never affected my pocket, so I don't care. Sorry,
Yeah, retirement's a little ways off.
but nonetheless, that's it. We need to repair this, and it starts with ranked choice, I think, and from ranked choice we can cascade it into these other things because we can get more people in office doing the right thing. We can get more people in office who care about. Hell, I think we're going to get more people running for office when they think that they can make a difference now because they're not beholden to the party.
That's
what I was
true. We're
thinking.
not just stuck with people who are backed by corporations
Right.
because they have the money to do it.
Well, that'll never completely go away.
No,
but,
I'm not saying that'll go away.
I
I'm
can get a
saying
party
that's
that
not going to be our
represents me.
only option.
But that's what I was saying is I think with this and all the weird parties that'll pop up, you'll see people actually representing their interests
Right.
and not just self interests of getting reelected.
Right, instead of ending up with cartels like the Republican Party is.
Well, unfortunately, both of them. I mean, because they're just rival corporations that have
And that's the
carved up the
problem.
landscape
They are-
into fiefdoms.
They are, in fact, corporations. I mean, that's not even an exaggeration.
No, it's quite literally, yeah.
They aren't responsible to you. When they messed with the primary,
I'm sure it's listed as a nonprofit.
they
but
did nothing wrong because as a corporation, they're allowed to do that.
Oh, the DNC.
Yeah. So, but that shouldn't be a thing.
It shouldn't be a thing.
Right. If you tell me I have the ability to vote, and then not really, but sorta,
Right.
and then you don't follow my wishes at all, it's like.
and then you
what the
flat
hell-
out
what are
declare
we
that
doing?
you had no obligation to vote to make your choice in the favor of the
And
voters.
then you wonder why people are looking negatively.
Go
at you.
fuck yourself. That's the last donation you ever get.
So,
Right.
but yeah, we can get away from that stuff and start getting to more, well-meaning, honest people running for office. I think because they're afraid to run under these big.
Because why would they
corporate
waste their
heads.
time when
Right.
they have no chance?
Right,
But
exactly.
under ranked choice voting, suddenly they have a
not
shot.
just that. Third-party candidates actually detract from the success of what is likely to be the best candidate. So with ranked choice, you can have an infinite number of parties, and they could all be valid, and we'll get what the population wants.
Well, that's the thing. If you get a small population of wackaloons who are voting for some outlandish, ridiculous candidate or whatever, it probably won't affect the overall election because that small party of wackaloons will be drowned out by.
It might
Right.
get a senator,
So, yeah. Well, if we have to deal with one senator wearing a boot on his head, whatever. So,
That'll just make SNL better.
all right. I am done with my rant. How about you guys?
I'm good.
Yep, I think we fixed it.
Do we have any announcements?
It's all better now.
I don't have any announcements.
All right, go follow us at @fire_American on Twitter, and we will follow you back. and come back and listen to us next week. You can find us currently on YouTube, on Anchor FM, Spotify,
All the things.
whole bunch of places. There's a bunch of places. So we'll talk to you next time. Bye.